Hey, the number one thing that lowers your frequency is lying. Now, you may be familiar with the research that they made on vibrational frequency and what is our highest frequency. And they found out that authenticity is the highest. The highest recorded human frequency is authenticity. Authenticity, definition wise, is when we believe what we are saying, when what we are saying is true to us. Okay? So every time you're saying something that is not true, that you don't believe in, that you don't think is true, you're not being authentic. Okay? So that by default will lower your frequency. Now, a bunch of things can affect your frequency, but this is the most impactful thing. So even if you are like sad and unhappy and blah, 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 all of those low frequency stuff, if you can just change this one thing, you can make a huge, huge difference. Okay? And that is to stop the white lies, stop the gray lies, stop any kind of lie, any kind of not honesty. Now, disclaimer, does this mean you got to be fully transparent at all times? No, it does not mean everybody has a right to know your business. All it means is you need to stop saying things that you don't mean. So if someone, for example, says, hey, why don't you tell me all this private information just because I'm simply curious, then you can say with integrity and with honesty and authenticity, you can say, none of your business is what you can say. Okay? You can say, I don't want to share that. If that's how you feel. Okay? If this is true for you, that's what you say. I'd rather not share that with you. You don't have to lie and give them like a bullshit story just because you don't want to say no. Okay? So people pleasers have a big problem with this. Okay? So people pleasing involves a bunch of lies. Sometimes, well, most of the times it's white lies, but still it's a bunch of lies. That's why, I definitely had those tendencies, and maybe to some extent still have those tendencies where, we want to make sure people are happy, but so much lying is involved when you're trying to always please people. So in order to have a high frequency for yourself, that people-pleasing stuff needs to go. Okay? You can still be a kind person. That's important, I think, being a kind and good. In fact, that's going to raise your frequency because you're going to like yourself when you're a good person, right? You need to be a good person. You can't have can't be a bad person and still, be up here because you're not going to like yourself. And when you don't like yourself, you're down here. Anyway, got to be a good person. But people-pleasing is not about being a good person. People-pleasing is about fear that people might criticize you, they might not like you, people might abandon you, that's about fear. Okay, so we got to let go of that fear, be authentic, and people, because anytime you're a high frequency, people just like you because everybody likes the light. Okay, there's people whose values I really don't align with, but if they got high frequency, they're just a little light to be around because they're like, they're just a beacon of light. Okay, who doesn't like that? And also, if your relationships depend on you having to be anything but yourself, that's not a stable relationship, okay? Your relationships, all of them, needs to withstand you being authentic and you having a different opinion, a different point of view, or different whatever, you being able to say no sometimes. Relationships need to be able to handle those things, in my opinion, okay? If not, it's not really a relationship. So, every time you lie, you go down to here because now you have a secret. Now you don't want to be found. Now it's like you're just creating all these problems for yourself. And oftentimes, there's shame associated with that. There's guilt associated with that. There's fear associated with that. So a lie usually doesn't come on its own. It usually has a reason that's connected to guilt or fear or whatever. Okay? So I think I gave you enough reasons not to do it, okay? Because here's the thing. The vibration frequency scale, it has actual numbers, megahertz, hertz numbers. I don't know the exact numbers, okay? So don't ask me. But what it is really, it's about your feeling. So when you're down here in grief, shame, fear, anger, it just feels awful, doesn't it? It feels awful. So vibrational frequency simply means, how do you feel? It's not about a particular emotion, it's about the general feeling. Do you feel good or bad? Okay, so down here, these feelings are really, really bad. So lying will take you down to feeling bad. You will feel awful. So if you're feeling depressed or negative emotions, the one thing that you can do to instantly boost how you feel is to start being honest. Being up here feels so good. Feels so good. And if you're used to being down here, going up here will feel like you're in heaven. And if you're used to being here and coming down, and you come down here, it feels like, the depths of hell is what that feels like. Okay? And perhaps that's what the scriptures were referring to when they talk about heaven and hell. I don't know. I don't want to guess. But maybe that's what they were talking about, because being down here, all of those bad things, it wasn't really for moral reasons only that the scriptures were saying how to be a good person and what to do and what not to do. It's really about how it's going to affect you. When you do bad things, it takes you down here. You feel bad. And when you feel bad, bad things come to you. They must, because you're on the same frequency. It wasn't about you got to do these things to impress God. God works within you. God lives in you, okay? So you got to impress yourself alone, okay? When you think you're a good person and you do the good things, you are righteous, you feel great. And you feel great in a lasting way, not just temporarily, okay? And when you do the things that you know are wrong, or are bad, even if nobody knows it, it takes you down here. It's not a moral thing. Well, it's moral as well, obviously, but it's really about, the scriptures are telling that for your own benefit. This is what to do to get such and such results. When you do bad things, you're down here. Bad things are going to happen for you. You're going to feel awful, and bad things are going to happen for you. And when you do good things, you're going to feel great, and great things are going to happen for you. Now, does this take courage? Yes. But when you drop the illusion that any of this is about what other people think, then it's not going to require as much courage. Because if you were scared about what are people going to think and what are people going to blah, 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 people are only responding to what you think about yourself. So if you're down here and you're busy managing what other people are going to think about you, you're only having to do that because you don't like you. When you go up here, you like yourself. And people are going to like you as well. But you're not going to be dependent on people liking you because you already like you. You already know you're a good person. Okay? So, that's what the scriptures are saying. The scriptures are not giving us a rule book to live for so that we can impress God. It's giving us the tools to a good life, to feeling good, to getting all the benefits that we get to have. And it's warning us against the things that are going to take away from our well-being. So living a righteous life is really about getting closer and closer to the well-being. Okay? I hope I made that clear. So this is really easy to apply. To start from today and see. Every day, change those small little habits of, when you're out of integrity, come back into integrity. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Bye-bye.